Okay guys, so we're going to take a look at Blitzkrieg Bop. Now this is a song by the band called the Ramones, and this is a pretty easy song. This is for the initial bass grade, and the first thing we notice is the tempo is 160 and the genre is called punk rock. The time signature is 4/4, meaning there are 4 beats per bar. Here's 1, 2, 3, 4 beats. Then we go to the next bar, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so if we play this song, then you'll hear 1, 2, 3, 4. Now this F over here means forte. Forte means loud. Alright, so 4/4. This is a time signature. You as a beginner bassist don't really need to know this too much. But what this means is that the key of the song is A. A has 3 sharps in it. You don't have to worry about that too much. But this is really the reason why you should be taking theory in conjunction with your instrument lessons, with your bass lessons. This clef over here is a bass clef. As you can see here, it says intro. Here it says A. Now what these letters mean here, these are the chords that the backtrack plays in the background. So the first thing we're going to do is let's try and master the very first bar over here. Now you'll notice that there are some numbers in this bar underneath. Now these are what we call tied staves. This is a stave. This is another stave. This says tab. This is the conventional music notation stave, and this is a tablature stave. So that's why it says tab. Now tab shows you the frets that you need to play. Here it says 0 on this second line from the bottom. We always count from the bottom, so it's line 1, 2, 3, 4, and they correspond to the strings on your bass. So the one at the bottom is actually the line at the top. In other words, it's the highest note. Now I have 5 strings here, so your bass will probably only have 4. So we're only going to look at the 4 at the bottom here. 1, 2, 3, 4. You always count from the bottom string, which is the highest note. 1, 2, 3, 4. And it's the same over here. You're going 1, 2, 3, 4. So this 0, if you plot it, is actually what we call an open string. 1, 2, 3 from the bottom. 1, 2, 3. So that's an open A string. This one over here. Right, and they want us to play 4 of those notes. 1, 2, 3, 4. So we're just going to simply, without fretting anything over here, we're just going to play the notes here. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now if we play the notation, you will hear it does exactly that. Right, now you can hear the tempo is quite fast. It's 160. Now let's take a look at bar number 2 over here. We see there's a D. That means that the backing track plays the chord D, and then it plays the chord E on this note here. So we're going to play an open on the second string from the bottom, and you play 2 of them there, 1, 2, and then you're going to play fret 2, which means you're going to take your finger and fret on fret number 2. So you're going to play 2 open and then 2 over there. So if we play the first 2 bars here, we're going to play open, 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 then change to the next string, open, open, and then fret 2, and play that. So when we start playing it more together, we're playing 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Now notice I counted 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and that's to correspond with the beats here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. You get it? So the first 2 bars, if we play it again, we're playing open, 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 open on your D string, and then 2 on your D string. Now notice that I'm now naming the strings, and the strings are important. We're playing this bottom one here is a G note, this is a D note, this is an A note, and this is a E note. Now if we take a look here, from the highest one, that is G, that is D, that's A, and that's E. Now for you guys, you don't have to worry about that one. That's a really deep note over there. That's a B note, and you don't have to worry about that. That's not included in this notation over here. So now you should be able to play bar 1 and 2 pretty easily. Now notice bar 3 is a replica of bar A. It's exactly the same. And then bar 4 is the same as that one over there. So you're going to repeat the same thing twice. So let's take a look at how that sounds. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. Right, now it's very important to note what is the technique that I'm using with my right hand over here. Now I'm plucking with my index finger, this one, and I'm using my thumb to mute the string above it, and I'm using these fingers here to mute the string below it. So in other words, we got this type of action here, right? So I'm using this finger as my plucking finger, and I'm using these as mutes. So I'm muting there and I'm muting there, and I'm playing in between those mutes. So if I have to hold this a lot closer, you see there? Right, let's get the angle right here. There we go. So we're playing our open. Right, now let's take a look at the next bar. So again, we're repeating, and then we go to bar number 7 over here. All right, so bar 7 is A, and then open, open. All right, so we're playing open, open. So 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now that I tailed off with those last 4 notes over there. So playing these 2 bars together are, and then we stop over there. Now you see there's a NC. Now what does NC stand for? It stands for no chord. That means that in the backing track or the backing music, there's no chord. Now over here we see this symbol here, which is a semi-breve rest. That means that you do not play anything for 4 counts here, and then again you play nothing for 4 counts. So it's a total of 8 counts. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So while the track is moving, and I think in the track there's some shouting or something like that in the song, you keep quiet, the band keeps quiet. And then what happens again, you carry on with 1, 2, 3, 4 A notes here. See, 0, 0, 0. Now let's open A. 1, 2, 3, 4. All right. So let's move on to the next section here. Now you can see it's just 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, a whole bunch of zeros all the way to there. So that means you're playing A, let's see, 4, 8, 12, 16, 20 times. But you don't need to really count that. What you need to do is sort of feel the way that you're going. You're going 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So you're doing it 5, and then here 6 times. So it's actually pretty easy to count. Let's go with it together, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Now if you weren't really able to follow it, what I'm doing with my eyes when I read this, I look at the very, very first note and I count that 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. And that's an easy way to see where you are in the bars. Otherwise, you can very easily get lost if you're counting 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. You already know that you're just playing the open A string here. So you don't really need to count each one with your eye as I'm moving the mouse here. You need to just focus on the first note of each bar. So you're counting there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. Now you know you're over here, right? So that's pretty straightforward in terms of not getting lost in the bars. Now you see here it says verse. Now verse is what we call in music form. It's a form type in music. So in songs you'll get an intro, you'll get a verse, you'll get a chorus, you'll get bridges, you'll get post-choruses, pre-choruses, all sorts of different form values. Now in this song, this is now the verse. Now the verse is pretty simple. It's pretty much like the intro. You have your 4 open A notes, a D, an E, just like in the beginning. So this is actually kind of a no-brainer. And it repeats over here until we get to this note over here. Alright, you can see that nicely. There's a big circle there. We call that a semi-breve. And now you'll notice there's nothing else in the bar. And that's why when you play this, you actually play it for 1, 2, 3, 4. You play it and hold it for 4 beats. So that in American music terminology, you call that a whole note. Why? Because it lasts for the whole bar, all 4 counts. These ones, by the way, in normal notation, we call these crotchets, right? There's 1 per beat. You can see there's 4 beats in the bar, and there's 1 for every beat. But we also call them quarter notes. Why? Because you can fit 4 of them into a bar. In other words, like 4 quarters, right? So quarter notes, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then a whole note which lasts the whole bar. And then we have a very short little note here. This is called an 8th note, or we can call it a quaver. And quaver is half of a beat. So one of these is half of one of these. So in other words, you can actually fit two of these into one of those. But so what they really want you to do here is you need to get to that point. You need to play a really short little note, and then you quiet for the rest of the bar. Alright, so what we can do is we can try and play along with this notation. One, two, three, four. 1, 2, 3, 4, stop. Alright, so it's actually really easy to practice along with this, and you should master it pretty easily because of the open strings, and you actually only need to fret 1 string over here, this number 2 on your D string. Alright, so I hope that this all makes sense. Please ask me any questions if you're unsure of how this works, and then practice with the backtrack that I've posted on the group, and you should master this pretty easily. Alright, good luck, and I'd love to hear your video versions or even voice notes or something. Just show me that you're working on this so that I can hear your progress. It's really important to know that you're putting in some work into this. This is an easy song to master, so I'd love for you to quickly, just once you've mastered it, make a video and send it to me, or just a voice note. And good. I hope to see you guys back at school as soon as possible.